Hello everyone, I'm Chris Mozillo Shepherdson, and this is a game review of Tales of Berseria. Tales of Berseria is the latest addition to the Tales of series, following on from Tales of Berseria. It's even set in the same world as Berseria, but don't worry because it's not a sequel or even a prequel of sorts. It's set 100 to 1,000 years prior to the events of Berseria, and don't worry if you've not actually played Berseria, because I can sort of understand if you haven't, because the game it's alright, you know. But instead, all the terminology from Berseria is, well, completely different and doesn't have any real bearing on what goes on in Berseria. So ultimately you can just pretend it's a brand new game in a brand new setting and in a brand new world, but honestly it's not quite. The game opens like, well, any other normal game would. Hell has broken loose, and while trying to hide from death and trying to seek out some form of safety, you witness your sister being sacrificed in some kind of weird satanic ritual. The tragedy doesn't actually last long, however, because we smash cut to the future where all the death and screaming and the sky turning red all seems to mostly be a memory, and everyone is living it up as a happy family. The actual opening of the game is a tad slower, as it's you enjoying your simple and idyllic life, enjoying the sickeningly disgusting happy family routine, day in, day out. You've even got an ill and most likely dying younger brother to look forward to. So what could possibly go wrong? You, Velvet, go about your life, checking out the item store, going off to hunt boar to get food for dinner, even checking out the giant hole in the ground that seemingly descends to hell itself. The good life. But oh no! Something may have gone wrong. Your ill and dying younger brother has gone missing. Is it time? Is he finally going to be dying? Oh my word! Never mind though, as it's a false alarm. He just went into the forest to, I don't know, look at some flowers or some pigs and wanted to go check out the hellhole to death itself that no one seems to ever question the existence of.
Hey Velvet. Thank you for taking me out here today.
You don't need to thank me.
But wait, everything does actually go wrong.
One more sentiment to cast off.
Our dear, ill, younger brother is fed to the death hole. With his death, Velvet goes from just a small-town girl, living in a lonely world, to an exceptionally angry lady, screaming and shouting and screaming and being really, really angry. To be fair though, I'd be angry as well with the lack of health and safety going on. We forward again to Velvet in jail, angrily eating things with her hands. Or hand. One big hand that eats things. A hand that eats without the use of a mouth. A hand that can... Velvet begins to break out of jail, and in doing so, she decides to change from her outfit of revealing rags for, well, some revealing rags. I don't think that's going to help in any way, shape or form. She basically just added a big coat. After more screaming and eating of people with your hand, both of which are common themes by the way, you begin to meet more of the wonderful and fun characters, such as MacLeod the witch.
None other than the acclaimed, the illustrious Machikiki Dindo Dindo Larundu. MacLeod for short.
MacLeod?
No, Ma, like soggy shoe or doggy do, or call me any of those things and I'll turn you into a froggy stew.
Sure. Rokuro, the demon swordsman.
Rokuro-ran gets it. At your service. This blade is my life. I owe you a great debt, one I vow to repay.
Yes, she's a peach and a model citizen. Can we get our move on? I think they're just about done massacring the rioters.
And with their help, you set out on a journey of revenge and hatred against the man who betrayed you, Artorias.
Artorias!
Yeah, him. With Tales of Berseria, you almost definitely find yourself wondering if you're the bad guys. And then Velvet and gang just openly admit that, yeah, they're the bad guys, and you kind of carry on with your day. It's a unique take in a Tales of game, or most RPGs at that, where for most of the game the big evil isn't even evil. You're the evil. Every character pursues their own personal grudges that just so happen to all revolve around high-ranking members of the Order of Exorcists, so end up all intertwining in some way or another. With this, each character has their own developmental arcs, but they're not completely isolated and separated out from one another. Instead, they're slightly intertwined, mostly just through proximity. Despite all being villains with their own convictions based around revenge or fighting, or revenge, mostly revenge, the characters are somehow really fun and enjoyable. There's a delightful amount of banter and jokes thrown around the group, with each character filling their own roles, like Eisen, who fills the role of hot dad. The jokes and laughter had within the party can be rather odd, to say they're mostly demons or pirates, or worse, especially when MacLeod is involved, who seemingly almost exists for the sole purpose of just derailing other people's lives and trying to cause havoc for them. The combat of the game is a slightly more evolved form from Tales of Berseria, which I told you that no one needs to know about to even be able to play this game. So it's an action combat game with a large focus on maintaining combos and generally screaming a whole lot. There's, again, a lot of screaming in this game. However, I really enjoyed the combat in this time around. Enemy magic isn't nearly as crippling as it used to be, and doesn't result in nearly as many instant party wipes just from some bad combos. Playing as Velvet, which is what I mostly did, has the ability to keep your combo going through the use of your big angry hand and keeps the combat constant and fluid. That's not to say it's exactly simple, there's a fine medium between dodging and working on taking down your foe. This, mixed with mystic arts and being able to swap your party members out on the fly, can lead to highly adaptable fights with lots of screams. Tales of Berseria is still chock-a-block full of bits and pieces that you'd kind of expect from a Tales of game, with more mini-games, or games within games, then you can shake a stick at, and only some of them aren't actually shit. You've got plenty of costumes of varying quality, although they're mainly towels and swimsuits. I wonder what Velvet's swimsuit is going to be like. Oh, how tame. You've even got skateboarding. Tales of Berseria is a surprisingly strong addition to the Tales of series. It's a globe-trotting adventure that sees you explore all sorts of interesting, beautiful scenery. The overall story builds up to quite an epic tale, although there are some odd moments where the characters are all seemingly shocked about 2/3 of the way in to find out that Velvet is actually a Therian, because it's kind of plot relevant at that point, despite her mentioning it numerous times prior to that event.
A Therian.
While it's not exactly a requirement to have played Tales of Berseria prior to this game, the references to it are quite delightful. Side quests and stories that show the bond forming between Zaid and Eisen, as well as allusions to Eisen's eventual transformation into the dragon that you see in Berseria. You have whispers of the first shepherds forming and the Lord of Calamity, all major proponents of Berseria, including that of the cleansing purification power that is the entire premise of the Berseria storyline. Having those just kind of allusions to Berseria and minor explanations that aren't exactly vital, but they give a bit of background, can be really fun for series regulars. It's definitely a game I would recommend, with the fluid combat which keeps you entertained and engaged, the story with a lot of side quests that are unique and different take, with you being a villain and all contrasted against the fun and enjoyable characters that constantly put a smile on my face. That's not to say the game doesn't have any flaws. Personally, the equipment system is still kind of a bit disappointing. It's a similar one to that seen in Berseria. So items no longer feel unique because you're just going through lists and lists and lists of the same item looking for slight stat variances. The side characters are few and far between. While the main characters and the villains are really interesting and cool, anyone outside of that circle just is easily forgotten and not even that plot relevant. and sadly the game story almost does grind to a halt going into the final third. But continuing on from that, the game does really pick up and become this wonderful and epic finish to a story. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. If you want, check out the description for a more written review, which hopefully has slightly more in-depth ideas and discussions on the whole game. And, you know, check out some of my other stuff, because there's definitely going to be one about mini-games at some point, if I can find the time. Thank you, and goodbye.